All right, welcome to the third episode of Midwest Sports Podcast. We missed one. We're sorry we missed a week, but it happens, right?
Life gets in the way, certainly. Yeah. But we're back.
Yeah, we're back better than
And we
ever.
have a lot of shit to talk about.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of shit to talk
absolutely,
about.
absolutely.
Um, well, if you don't mind, I know we were talking about this a little bit off air, but I'm going to start out today by giving Anthony Edwards a shout
I
out.
do mind, but I'm gonna let you do it anyway.
And you did give me a little shit, which, yeah, I mean, until the Wolves win a championship, you can rightfully do that. But I don't think you looked up the stat line, so I'm just going to give it to you quick,
All
okay?
right, let's do it.
And they're playing Germany today. They won 99 to 91.
As they should.
Ant played 34 minutes. And in those 34 minutes, here's his stat line. Ready?
Let's go.
He scored 34 points. He was 7 for 13 from 2 point range. He was 4 for 8 from 3 point range. And he was 8 for 8 from the free throw line. He had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, only 1 turnover. And he was the leading scorer when the U.S. went on their 23-5 run to win the game. So shout out to Anthony Edwards, man.
Yeah, I mean that's a good stat
He got
line.
Yeah, he got LeBron was tweeting at him, a bunch of people. KG was tweeting at him. So I don't know. He's definitely the best player on that Team USA, and I'm just excited for hopefully the rest of the summer for him. And I think it's only good experience that he's getting from this, barring any injuries. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, whatever
He's
else you got to do.
he's
But
gonna ball out this year. The problem is who is gonna help him.
Jade McDaniels, dude.
I don't think the Wolves are deep enough to do anything in the West right now. But we'll
Oh,
see.
dude.
I think you're looking at it. I think your ceiling this year maybe a conference finals loss, but that's like as high as I think you can get. I don't think you're deep enough to. You're not there yet. You got a couple more years.
I would take a conference finals appearance. Honestly, I'm
I
excited
I, I see
if
you
that
guys
ends
getting
up
out of the
happening.
first round this year, just because guys are old. The West is aging right now with KD down in Phoenix and LeBron and AD up in LA, which LA paid AD instead of you doing anything to bring in anyone else. So like I don't see
You love
those
to see
teams.
it.
I don't see those teams having enough juice to make it. 16 wins is a lot, especially after the season. Like I just don't see those teams being deep enough to really go far. So
Yeah,
we'll
you
see.
love to see it. You love to see it. But yep,
When
anything
you
out
get
of the
knocked
first
out by
round is
Denver, dude, I will I'll feel a little bad for you, but not really.
let's not count our what does it count our chickens before they hatch? We'll just have
Listen,
to
I
see.
one of my chickens just hatched and it's gonna count forever. All right. So, um, enough basketball talk. The schedule did release recently, but
It did this week.
there's nothing
Did the
crazy on
Nuggets
there. It's an NBA schedule.
did the Nuggets get a Christmas game this year after their finals win? Did you
I
look that up at
I
all?
actually haven't even looked. I have not been paying attention to the NBA other than I know the schedule's out. So
Schedule and then the in-season tournament schedule got released as well, which is kind of interesting. That's the first
let's
time they're
take a
trying
second and
this.
talk about this in season tournament. I
I mean, it's
I want to know what you think about it.
It's the and I get why they're doing it. It's an excuse to make games in November, late yeah, basically in November relevant, early season games relevant because typically like the NBA season doesn't really kick into gear until Christmas, right? Like
Yeah.
it's such a long season. Um, teams tend to like some teams start slow. I don't know. I feel like once you get to Christmas, like late December, early January, you start figuring out like the cream of the crop, like who's going to rise above after that. And I think they're just trying to make basically just like bring viewership, an increase in viewership early in the season to get people to tune in by like labeling these games as like, you know, a tournament thing. And the good news about it is like, oh, I think only like the finals or whatever you want to call it, like the final weekend of that are the extra games,
Mhm.
whereas like all the other games as a part of this tournament are just like regular season games.
So
So like they're not playing like unless you're in the in that like that weekend in Vegas to finish that thing off, like you're not really playing any extra games, which is good because I think like
How
the
do you
season's already
think?
long enough.
How do you think? 'Cause, I
So
mean, that's kind of my point to it. Because you see guys getting load managed all the time now. It's become common practice to play like not play a third of the season. You make
yeah,
it to the end of the
Kawhi
year,
Leonard.
and and so I want to know how you think like they're gonna treat this. Like, because does it matter who wins that thing? Like, how bad do you?
There's
Because
no.
everyone's been ring chasing in the NBA for the
Mhm.
last decade, and I like. Do you think this in season tournament? God, Lee.
You got it. You got it.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Brains are cooking. But do you think players are gonna want it? Like, do you think they're gonna care at all about that stupid
Dude,
thing?
depends on the team. So I think the teams that um maybe well, and I think there's like extra cash too for the players. Like there's a cash incentive, and so I think you're gonna find like the younger teams are going to be the one like with the younger guys who are like still on their rookie contracts. They're probably going to be the ones trying hardest just because like it's an extra financial incentive for them. But
Mm.
also like maybe they want to try to prove themselves. Maybe you'll have some rookies, right? Like coming in that just like oh, if I could like, showcase my talent like early in my rookie year in Vegas, like, that's not summer league.
That's
It's like
kind of
in
what I'm worried
season.
about. I'm worried about this tournament becoming like a summer league in season where it's just like, all right, we made the dance. Now let's just throw our young
Hmm.
guys out there so our load managed talent isn't gonna have to worry about it. I don't see teams being I don't see them wanting it.
Yeah. Yeah. And my last thought about that too is like I think it's like such a great idea. I think it's like there can be ways that it can be executed really well. And I mean, it's gonna make me tune in earlier in the season. Like I'm a fucking sucker for that. Like I don't give a shit. Like,
Well,
I'm gonna be
also I think
watching
the
weeknight.
Wolves are gonna be one of those teams that might act like have something to prove with us.
Probably, yeah. The one thing I think they could improve on it is like rather, other than just like you're the in-season tournament champion, is like if winning this tournament guaranteed you a play-in
Hmm.
spot. And then, based on like how you finish the season, then it's just record, right? It's like if you won the in-season tournament, but you were the worst record out of the seven or no, yeah, the 7, 8, 9, 10 seeds, then you would be the 10 seed, right? So you'd have to win two road games to get into the playoffs.
Mm.
If you were that, if you didn't end up finishing the season
It just kind of gets you in.
higher than those teams. But yeah, but I mean, if you won that and you ended up being a top 6 seed, it wouldn't, you're a lock in the playoffs already anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, just like some little incentive, like, hey, if you win this thing early in the year and you can get like a play-in spot, I don't know, it'd be kind of spicy, right? Because like then April comes around, it's like, oh, like this team did really well in November, and then they like shat the bed for 3 months, but let's see what they got.
I
I don't
think
know. I think
where
that's how
that
they
could
could
be
improve it.
done really well is, let's say you have like a team that's really good. Like, let's say Denver goes off and just wins it, the in-season tournament, and then like Murray or Jokic gets hurt in like December or something, and they have a really bad January and February, and they're ending up like on the fence. Like that could be like a way to redeem a team a little bit, where because like that does happen. Like I'm thinking back to last year, the 2021-2022 season, when Murray got hurt. Like it just kind of killed our momentum a little bit, and like even though we still made the playoffs easily, like we didn't have the gas. So
Hmm. Yeah.
I think that'd be
Well,
a cool way to do that.
or if you're the Clippers, you just win that and you sit Kawhi Leonard the rest of the season until the playoffs because he doesn't want to really play anyway until that point. So, it could be
that
beneficial for
that
him too
that
as he's
team isn't
aging out.
never gonna make noise in the playoffs. They're not built to win over there. Like
Uh,
the new stadium looks like it's gonna be really cool though for the Clippers.
yeah,
I'm excited to see
good for
that.
them.
Those
Hmm.
like really
Yeah.
awesome toilets they're bragging about. I'm so glad that that's what that stadium's gonna be known for after being like the technological marvel it's about to be. I'm
Dude,
curious,
I
like,
just
what do you
hate.
think in 10 years? Who do you think is gonna have the best stadium in the NBA? Like the most state of the art. Who do you think is gonna be?
I mean, it's gonna be a team that builds the newest one, right? Like I know Alex Rodriguez and Mark Laurie, the still minority owners of the Timberwolves for about another year here as they continue to their payment plan, but like they want to build a new stadium. Target Center was built in the early or maybe late 80s, early 90s. Like that place
I'm
is
looking at
kind of
Ball
aging
Arena.
out.
That place is built in the late 90s. Because
Yeah,
the
I
Avalanche
think
played
it's
at
going to
Old
be
McNichols Arena before the Pepsi Center got built.
yeah, I think it's going to be whatever team has like in 10 years like the newest stadium because I think
Yeah.
like you see in the NFL, they like take all the best things about all the stadiums around the NFL and they incorporate them into one, right? And then like as technology changes year to year, then they just keep adding like the new shit.
I'm just
Um,
curious, like who you think it's going to be, because like you have teams like Golden State who just got theirs. They just got
yeah,
a
there's
new
this brand
one,
new.
and
Yeah, I
like they
mean,
got it because they won. That much is obvious, right? They got like winners get new things.
yes,
Like look at
yeah,
Buffalo. That team was garbage forever. They start winning all of a sudden, and now they have a almost $1 billion of taxpayer money to build a new stadium.
mhm.
Speaking of the
Yeah,
Buffalo
and I
Bills,
mean,
man.
honestly,
Speaking of those Bills, Josh Allen is my new favorite out of like any quarterback, not named Aaron Rodgers. I love that guy.
nice.
That clip
Uh,
from the fight where he just looks over and just yells at him like a dad. That guy's winning an MVP this year, I think.
you gotta hope so, man.
He's got to
It's
win
gotta be his
something.
time.
He's got to win something.
Hmm hmm
Can that O line
Yeah,
figure it out? Can they get that run game going with someone other than Josh Allen? That's the question there.
right,
But,
right.
well,
Yeah, I mean, I guess thinking about that question, I don't know who, because like Detroit's arena is pretty new.
hmm
The Bucks just built a new arena. I think like, um, I don't know, man. It might honestly be the Timberwolves if you just look at like their arena previously and then whatever comes next. I think it could be them because like I mean honestly like as somebody who's gone to a few arenas and like now been in Denver for some like I feel like Ball Arena, yeah, it's like 20, 25 years old now, but it's still in really
it's still in good
great
shape.
like oh, it's great, dude. And like the scoreboard is really nice. Like that's
Mhm.
obviously
Well,
been
that got redone in I think it was
right.
2013 when they did that.
hmm Yeah, and so like I think just the way that the seating is in there, like there's really not a bad spot in the house for a lot of
hmm
events and sporting stuff. So I think like you could see like them renovating like this, like making updates to that stadium as itself. Maybe in like the next 5 to 10 years if they wanted to do anything, but it's still a really great arena,
I think
honestly. So.
selfishly, I want one because Kroenke, owns the Nuggets and the Avalanche, and the Colorado Mammoths
hmm
are our lacrosse team, who is a year removed from a championship season. So like all three of those teams have won championships in the last 2 years.
hmm
And it's Kroenke. The dude spent $6 billion on SoFi. I'm just like, I want one because I know it would be
But well,
it would be sick.
yeah,
So
like right, like just right where Ball Arena is, just knock it down.
just knock it down, get rid of it, get it out of here. Let's bring in a cathedral here for the winning ways of the Colorado teams. All right.
Would you rather? I know they're different ownerships, but would you rather have Ball Arena? Like, would you rather have a new basketball hockey arena, or would you rather have the Broncos get a new like arena complex, stadium
I would
complex out by the
rather
airport,
get a
which is
new
what they're
I'd
talking
rather get a
about?
new ball arena because
Okay.
I know what they want to do with the Broncos stadium, and like what they're going to do is they're going to move it all the way out by DIA. And for anybody who's not from Denver,
hmm
DIA is a fucking field trip away from Denver. Like the actual city itself is miles away from the airport. And they want to there's a lot of untouched land over there, and they want to build one of those big super complexes that have like like the stores and the hotels, and get all of the cash flow, and like have the team own all of it so they can just make a ridiculous amount of money like what the Patriots do, what the Packers do. And um I'm not here for it. And they're gonna dome it. If they're building a new one here, they're gonna
Well,
dome it, and I don't want a dome in Denver.
retractable. They'll retract
It'd
it.
probably be,
Retractable.
yeah, retractable. But either way, I don't want it. I'm not here for it.
You don't want a Super Bowl here, dude? You don't
I
want to have a
I,
Super Bowl here?
I don't care about the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna go.
Okay. All
They've priced me
right.
out of it.
Well,
So,
I mean, never say never, dude. You win the lotto, and all of a sudden Denver's in it again in their
well,
home stadium, dude. You'd be the
if I
first one
win
on the
a
light rail.
if I win the lotto, I'll go to a Super Bowl anywhere. It doesn't have to be in Denver.
True.
I just because like
But
a
if
Super
that was the
Bowl
scenario,
isn't
you'd be
worth
the first
losing the
fucking guy on the
stadium
light
in the
rail.
heart of the city to me. Like Mile High, like it means something here. That's why it's still called Mile High, even though it's had its name changed, 4 or 5 times. It's Mile High. It's in that spot. It's in the parking lot of the old stadium, the original Mile High, and so like there's just a lot of history there. It's like it means something to me having the stadium like in the city, not out by the airport, just to add things that we don't need here. Because also I don't want to pay for that. And
True.
like Walmart, yeah, they have the most money, but they're gonna try to get the taxpayers to pay for at least like 60-70% of that thing. There's no way
Hopefully
they're
the
gonna
residents
cronky
of
it and
Denver,
finance it themselves.
they won't.
There's no chance.
It doesn't usually
So
go that way. Yeah, it doesn't usually go
I
that
want a
way.
new stadium for the Abs and the Nuggets. Even though like I'm not saying I hate Ball Arena. Ball Arena is great, but like it's owned by the Cronkies, man. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And speaking of like stadiums and updates and stuff, the Packers got a new video board over the offseason this
So
year.
did the Broncos, conveniently.
Oh, interesting. And I know, like, and so you also have like, and I was going to speak to this with the NBA stadiums too. You have these like historic stadiums, right? Like Madison Square Garden. You have the TD Garden, I think, in Boston. Wasn't it the
TD
Boston Garden before that?
It's
Yeah.
TD Garden in Boston.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like you have Lambeau Field.
Yep.
You have these like
even.
iconic. Mm-hmm. These just like iconic stadiums that like will probably never get demolished. I mean, eventually, right? Like when we're probably dead and gone, like they're gonna have to do something. But like
right.
you see these stadiums where they just like make improvements to like these relics, right? That they're like keeping up. Just because.
How long do you think it's gonna be before they redo SoFi or they try to build a new stadium out there? How long? Like
in LA?
Yeah, for the Rams. How long do you think it's gonna be? They just spent six something billion dollars on a stadium. When do you think that's gonna
knowing, but look at Staples Center or whatever it's called now. Like that place has been around for 25 years. The Forum, maybe longer, 30 years. The Forum before that was around for decades. I would imagine this place is going to be
it's like with
30 years.
With the way technology is going, dude, like state of the art's out of date 5 years later. Like, and these owners, like, look at what happened with the Atlanta Braves, man. They had that, and the Falcons. Like, they each only had their stadium for like 20-25 years before they built a new state of the art one.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I'm thinking like 25 to 30 years for this stadium. They'll just make updates to it over that time, and then it'll just get too old, and then they'll just demolish it and build something different.
Improvements in technology are making the stadiums able to last longer, because some of these stadiums are getting redone because out of necessity they're falling apart.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, wow, I didn't think we'd spend 15 minutes talking about stadiums today, but here we are, man.
I could talk
it's
about
interesting though, like
for probably in like at least a full episode. I love the state, like I love stadium architecture. I love like the cool, especially where things are going now, where you get things like U.S. Bank, where it's supposed to look like an upside down ship and stuff, and you get
right.
SoFi and what's the one in Atlanta? Mercedes? Is it still the Mercedes Benz?
It's Mercedes Benz. Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
what they're doing with the architecture is so cool. I find it so interesting. I cannot wait for the Bills and the Titans to get their new stadiums. It's gonna look so great.
And I want one thing to end the stadium talk. I just hate like shared stadiums of the same like sport. The same sport.
We're talking to you, MetLife and SoFi.
Yes, I hate it. There's like, and then even Staples Center or what, I don't even know what it's called now. I'm just gonna keep referring to it. Like I hate, like if I was a player, like there's nothing like knowing that I share this entire facility with another team and it's not like my own, like that would just bug the shit out of me, dude. Like, they're like before the game, they're like putting up all the Jets stuff and the Giants stuff, and it's like it just doesn't, I don't know, it's just I don't get it.
Something I love about Mile High is there's no question the Broncos play there. Like, the seats are 100%. Blue, except for this first couple rows that are orange. They got the big Broncos logo. They got the statue up. Like, you walk around in the concourse, everything's blue and orange,
Mm-hmm.
It's it's the Broncos stadium. And then you look at a place like you look at a place like Vegas, right? You look at what's the name of that one? It's some weird nonsense.
I
But
have no
you
idea.
look at Vegas, and if you weren't going to, like, if your ticket wasn't for the, like, an Oakland Raiders game, would you have any idea the Raiders played there?
I mean, dude, probably not.
Like, there's nothing that signifies the Raiders play there, like, at all. It's just like it's more of like an event center than an NFL home stadium, you know?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah,
It's weird. Well,
yeah.
speaking of
And like,
teams that share a home, let's talk about the
hmm
Giants and Jets this preseason Week 3 game, and more
and I just
specifically about the quarterback who's not going to play.
no, he's playing.
He's playing.
They confirmed it this morning. He's
Okay,
gonna
I missed that
play.
one.
Yeah, he's playing. It's the first preseason game he's gonna play since like 2018, I think.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, he's playing this weekend, and I think, I mean, it'll probably just be one drive, right? Like, get him out there, get his feet under him. I mean, it depends. If he goes 3 and out, they might bring him out again. But I think, like, if he goes down and gets a tutty, like, job
How,
well done, sir. You didn't get hurt. Like, you know,
how do you
thank you for
think
your
New York
service.
fans would react if his first series as a Jet was a 3 and out?
Oh, dude, I don't know, because like
Do you
they're
think
gonna
it
go
would be like
bullet.
panic, or would
Who's
it
the
be just
home?
like, uh,
Who's the home team?
let's take a look, see if I can find it. Because I think it's the Jets. I think the Jets are the home team.
Okay, well, it'll be. I mean, you'll probably have a mixture of fans, but you'll have like their season ticket holders
Oh no, it's the
there,
Giants.
hopefully.
The
Oh,
Giants.
it
It
is.
looks
Okay,
like are at
well,
home.
who knows, man? That's a fascinating thing. Like the crowd, like now knowing that Rodgers is at least gonna play. Like, are people just gonna get packed in there just to see like the first glimpse of him,
Well, you think
like
the
in
Giants
game,
fans
like
are going to
real?
be packing in to see, Daniel Jones? I don't think
Probably
so, dude.
not.
The Jets
Any
fans are going to
dimes,
take that
dude.
over. No way. $40 million, man. He's a paperweight. Can't do nothing.
I know. I don't like him either, but
I would
yeah, it'll be
rather have a
interesting. I
pocket
think
full of actual dimes than Daniel Jones as my quarterback.
literally,
Yes, I'm not exaggerating. That guy stinks. But
yeah.
with Rodgers, I just
Yeah, I
think
mean,
like
I don't
he's
know.
he's
Not
so
much
hyped, and
else.
it's just like if he only plays one series and it's a 3 and out or something, just how much of a letdown that could be for the Jets fans, especially with
Yeah, I mean, he
Hard
won't.
Knocks, the way he's getting
If
hyped up, dude.
yeah, if that happens, he's not. He's gonna play that. He's gonna go back in, unless he like if he's not hurt, obviously. But if he does, if he gets like a touchdown, if it's a touchdown drive, that's all he's gonna play.
So
But if he goes 3 and out or something, like he'll
that
play
game is
at
on.
least another drive.
It's a Saturday game at 6 o'clock New York time, so it's gonna be like
Okay, so 4 o'clock.
prime New York right there. It's gonna
Yeah,
be like, that's
yeah,
gonna be a
dude.
game that I think I would want to watch the first quarter of for sure.
Yeah, definitely,
And
definitely. And it'll also make the fact that he's playing now. It'll also make Hard Knocks even more interesting than it's already been. That has been
yeah,
holy shit. The first
yes,
episode was, I think we might have talked about this off air, but it was a love letter to Rodgers for
it
sure.
was absolutely.
Yeah, dude. The
If
first
if
episode, he just looks so happy there.
if I'm a New York Jet fan, which this year I'm a closet New York Jet fan because of
Oh, yeah,
Rodgers mostly. Like if I'm
yeah,
still picking a team to win that division, I'm still picking the Bills. But I see the Jets getting a wild card, and I see them doing things in the playoffs. But they like if I'm a Jet fan, how could you not be optimistic about this season? Like I got burned by Russell Wilson, so I'm skeptical about quarterbacks. But even I'm just like there's no way he doesn't come and just turn that building around. There's no way. And like what he's doing for Zach Wilson right now, like it looks like Zach Wilson is just become a different player and like different
oh
personality.
yeah, mm-hmm,
Like
yeah,
I'm comparing how
yeah,
he's talking to the media, how he's talking to his teammates and stuff on Hard Knocks and stuff, and I'm comparing that to what we got last year. It just he looks like a different
mm-hmm,
guy. Zach Wilson does.
yeah, definitely, definitely. The only thing that I'm worried about with them is the O line
Yep.
situation, and that's it,
Yep.
honestly. Other than that, like, I think they'll be okay if the O line can hold serve at best, like, and give Rodgers some time to throw the ball or do some good running blocking. Like, I think the Jets will be okay. But if they can play elite, then I think that's what really puts the Jets up in like the division winning conversation for sure.
That division's going to be tough. It's going to be
Yeah,
very
it's gonna be
tough
tough.
because
Oh, dude,
you've
and
got Buffalo who they're hungry, and then you've got
mhm,
Miami, which like Miami's offense is going to test every person who says that the Jets have a good defense
yeah.
strongly because that offense has got speed, and if Tua is healthy, and look out. And then you got New
Didn't
England.
you didn't you see that Tua threw a pick yesterday in his first outing, like right away?
Yeah,
I
I
think
actually
something like that.
I was on a lunch break yesterday and happened to catch that highlight, and I just had to laugh because it's Tua, and I
I
just
think.
whenever he throws a pick now, I just think back to the Green Bay game where he was just throwing rainbows to Jair.
Hmm.
So
Dude,
that's
I
a
feel really bad for him though, with the concussions and stuff. Like all jokes aside, like
if
that's
that
really
happens
shitty.
again, I am never picking up a helmet or a Dolphins helmet if I'm Tua.
Right. I mean, yeah, I would be done. I'd be done.
Like
Um,
there's no way they cannot let that happen again. There needs to be a microscope on that team right now when it comes to player safety.
honestly. But yeah, Hard Knocks is great, and I'm excited to see it continue. And it's really cool just to see Rodgers like in a practice setting, like how he interacts with players, how he like interacts with the other team, like when they went down to Carolina, how he interacts with the refs, and like him in the preseason,
Yeah,
like mic'd up. Like it's just so cool to see that side of him because like you usually only get like the post game interviews and like the midweek interviews at his locker. You don't really get to see that stuff like that close, and it's just fun to see that.
it was really
Um,
cool. There was a moment in the second Hard Knocks towards the end where he was just talking to another player and he's like, "Oh, have we not done something yet? Let's go do something. Let's go grab lunch or something at some point." It's just like just to see him like interacting with his team like that because we all heard the rumors in Green Bay. We all heard that he was like a shitty teammate and like didn't want to hang out with people and stuff. And whether or not those are true, it's cool to see that, it's like he's turned over a new leaf. He's like, "Yeah, let's go do something." He's really
nah,
turned into
Greg
like that leader that
Greg Jennings was just salty that he left Rodgers and then went to the Vikings for Christian Ponder and didn't do shit there. So sorry about it. He's just salty that he left.
I think so too.
Um,
But it's just
yeah.
it's good to
Well,
see.
yeah. Well, I mean, moving on here. Let's get down to business with the Packers game, the preseason game. And actually, so you didn't watch the game yesterday, but you might not know that they like ended it abruptly. The game didn't finish.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, so I just want to say like another kind of a scary moment for in the NFL. It was actually the Patriots, their rookie cornerback. Is Isaiah Bolden was his
Hmm.
name? It was his name. Is his name? He's still alive. But he had to be carted off the field. And basically after the injury, the game was over. They just decided like we're not gonna risk anything else. But really, hopefully, he can fully recover. And it's just really shitty and really sad to have like you're a rookie in the NFL, you're in like your second preseason game, and like this happens. It's really sad. But so that's kind of how the game ended. Um, I will say. It pains me to say this, really pains me to say this, but yesterday, except for the fumbled snap, I did see Jordan Love make the most accurate throw I've seen him make on the touchdown that he threw yesterday. So I'll give him his flowers there. Again, like I said in our first episode, I don't want him to be Aaron Rodgers 2.0. I just want him to be a serviceable quarterback that like can manage the game, make smart decisions, not turn the ball over. That's all I want. And yesterday, actually, like I have his stats for both games pulled up. So week one preseason against the Bengals, he went 7 for 10 for 46 yards and a touchdown. QB rating of 112.9. And yesterday he went 5 for 8 for 84 yards. Um, one tutty, and then his QBR was 137.5. He also ran it twice for 11 yards, averaging 5.5 a carry. I think the big thing from the first week to this week is he doubled his average pass yards like per attempt.
Hmm.
So week one, he was averaging 4.6 yards per attempt, whereas yesterday he was averaging 10.5 yards
So
per
do we think
attempt.
that's a
So
confidence issue, or do we think that's maybe like he's just getting more, in terms of like arm, his arm is just getting more ready for the season?
I mean, the first week preseason, he missed a tight end who was wide open in the middle of the field.
Mhm.
So I think like maybe it's even a little bit like honing in some of the accuracy, like getting the that down because that's been like a huge thing for me personally watching him, like especially in that game against the Chiefs a couple years ago in season, like he couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn, dude. Like
Yeah.
you could have put a goddamn jugs machine out there with the water boy standing behind it and just like sending balls out and like that would have fucking worked better. Like this dude, he couldn't do anything, you know? And so like yesterday, I'll give him his grace, I'll give him his flowers. Like, dude, besides the fumble, like he looked okay. He had I think the highlight even more so than the tutty was he had a deep deep shot to Romeo Dobbs, um, deep ball that was caught on the sideline. They initially ruled it incomplete, but LaFleur challenged it and they overturned it. I mean, it was a little underthrown, and like I think Dobbs is like solidifying his wide receiver one campaign for this year. But fucking a, like that was an okay ball. So that's all I'm gonna say. That's all the positives I'm gonna give love. But like
You can't
it's
do too
kind
many.
of no, I can't, and I need to see more, and like I want to see
Mhm.
him in like I want week one against Chicago. Like I want that to just happen so bad. I just want to see him in a game that really matters. So,
That's
but
the
I'm
thing
not.
I hate about preseason, because you hear all this hype about the starters, and then you don't see them. You see them for four
Right.
plays, and that's not enough to gauge whether or not like they're gonna be good or not.
No, no, and speaking of accuracy, Mac Jones looked terrible yesterday.
Terrible.
Terrible. He was
What was his stat
missing deep
line?
shots, missing open receivers. Like from I don't have a stat line pulled up, but just from a casual Patriots watcher, like when they play the Packers, I'm like I don't know, man.
Okay, Mac Jones. He
So
went 6 for 9 for 52 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Got sacked
okay.
twice. QB rating 81.7 with a
Yeah, yeah,
yards per attempt of 5.8.
yeah, and the incompletions, a couple might have been contested, but for sure at least one was like, what the fuck are you doing there, dude? You totally overthrew your guy, who was wide open, by the way. Like the Packers.
If
That's
I'm
also another thing to know too is the defense didn't look super great yesterday for Green Bay, but also a lot of their starters weren't playing. So like Jair didn't play. I don't think Rashawn Gary got in there. I don't think Bakhtiari didn't play in the preseason game yesterday, which I don't give a shit about
I
that.
mean,
He
the
can sit
defense,
till
they're
week
not
one.
really learning a new system. And, like, most of the key pieces are still there. And so
Yeah.
I don't see a reason to play them very much. It's just
Right.
risking of putting a hole in your defense by letting someone get hurt.
Yep, exactly. So, but yeah, that's kind of my summary for the Packers Patriots game yesterday.
Well,
Obviously, they routed the Bengals week one, but um,
coming up, we've got the Seahawks coming to town.
dude, they are
So
coming to town. Do we know if Geno Smith's going to play at all?
I haven't heard anything about Geno playing.
Okay.
I want him to play because I want that defense to get tested a little bit. As like whoever it is, the ones to twos, I don't care who it is. I want to see them, have that fight, have that dog in them, because it doesn't matter ones, twos, threes. You're gonna play at some point. You're on an NFL defense. Someone's gonna get hurt. You're gonna get in there.
Yep.
So
Yep. And this is the last preseason game, right? The third one.
I believe
I think
so.
they're only doing
Yeah,
three. Yeah. So honestly, this week is going to be a lot. You're going to see probably.
probably like a whole
I mean,
first
does
halves
Love
from
go
some
back out there
teams.
again?
He should.
I'm thinking, but I mean, this is all about making the cut downs, right, to the final roster. So I think like you're going to see a lot of those like fringe players playing next weekend just to kind of like see like trying to play for their spot on the team. Basically, I think that's going to be most of the game.
It
So
really does kind of feel like the second preseason game has turned into what the third preseason game used to be. Because it used to be the third one is the one where you saw like most of the starters play at least a little bit, and then the
right.
fourth one was the cut day. I still think you got to get guys in there because
Yes.
like
hmm
yeah, you've got to get your guys cut, but you see them every day in practice. You should know who's
hmm
gonna make it or who shouldn't. At some point, you got to make sure you are ready for the season. I'm worried
Yeah,
about
for
the
sure.
Green Bay offense not being ready.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a big reason why Rodgers is going to play this weekend, right? Next weekend, because just like getting into some sort of rhythm, maybe, and it's a new team, like, you know, like they just want to, put that practice to the field and
It's
see what they
important
got.
to and like it's important to the especially if you're a quarterback on a new offense or you have like new receivers or anything, it's really important to make sure that you are comfortable, and that comfort only comes with reps. Like how is he supposed to direct that offensive line if he's never played a snap with them,
Exactly, exactly.
So because that
But yeah, so
offensive
I
line's
don't
going to
have,
need help. They're going to need help.
yeah,
This is why
yeah.
the Delvin Cook
I don't
signing
have
makes me
any.
so mad.
Yeah. I love when teams sign these like aging players and then their like social media accounts fucking post like old videos when they're in their prime, like to hype you up. Like I think the Jets Twitter or Instagram, it was Instagram, they posted like a highlight of Dalvin Cook like
Yep.
from the Vikings like however many years ago, just like running down the like, there's like a nice long run. I'm like, okay, well, how deep in the archives did you have to dig to find that one? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's not going to be that guy anymore, but he might be serviceable, but he's not going to be that. That's just the
I
unless you're
I
Adrian
think I
Peterson,
think they
that's just like
definitely
the
just
running
brought him
back.
in to lessen the load on Brees Hall, let him come back and be as
Hmm.
healthy as he can because Brees Hall's a stud,
Oh yeah, dude.
and he's
Yeah,
gonna be good. But I cannot in good conscience say that was a good idea for $8 million when they have that bad
yeah,
of an offensive line.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's he's not gonna he if anything he'll hopefully surprise us, but yeah, I guess so. I've kind of rambled on my Packers preseason kind of takes from the last couple weeks. I will say that yeah, I think it's par for the course so far, and there's been a couple of studs that like have kind of risen above from like the second and third teams that are kind of fun. It's always kind of fun to see some of those guys who you like don't get to watch play just like come out and shine. Like the Packers have a cornerback Valentine who played pretty well in the first game. So that was kind of cool to see. Like I don't know, I kind of get hyped on some of these guys too early, but like it'd be kind of like just I want somebody on the other side of Jair that just will, it's like who are you gonna throw to? You can't throw to anybody because both receivers are covered on the outside. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of my ramble for Packers, but yeah, I'm curious to hear your takes about the Broncos. I know there's been some stuff faster in the last couple weeks for you.
This guy Russell Wilson fucking stinks. I cannot stand this dude. Every time he steps out there anymore, I'm just like, all right, here we go. Run, check down, give up on the drive, give up on the play. This guy stinks.
Hey,
This guy,
hey, he said they're
he's bad.
he said they're gonna turn it around, and when they do, it's gonna be special.
Yeah,
That's a
well,
quote
you
from
know
him.
what? He said that last year too. So, this guy stinks. Get him off the Subway commercials. Get him off the air. Get his like everything he's doing off the football field. Take it down. He deserves none of it. He needs to focus on football, and that's it. This guy has done so many bad reads in the last 2 weeks. I'm just like, dude, did you learn anything? I get it. New system, new coach. This guy's his 11th year in the league, something like that, right? Figure it out. This guy stinks. Get him out of here. I'd rather have Jared Stidham right now.
Here's one for you. Would you rather have Russell Wilson or Jordan Love?
I'd rather have Jordan Love
Ooh.
because I don't know what Jordan Love's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm not
Right.
concerned about what Russell Wilson has been. I'm concerned about what he will be. And right now, he hasn't shown me anything that makes me think this offense is going to be serviceable at all this year. The first preseason game, the offensive line was so incoherent that like it looks like a patchwork line, and it's like our starters minus a couple guys who were hurt, And it's like we paid some big money for some guys. We paid Garrett Bowles, and he looks like he's about to be his 2019 holding form. About to lead the league in holding penalties. We're gonna stink. They are gonna stink this year. I've got one good thing to say about Russell Wilson, and it comes from the first preseason game against the Cardinals, where the Cardinals were in a cover one blitz, and Russell Wilson panicked. Pocket collapsing. He chucks it up deep. Nothing. Bad news. And then next time the Cardinals do it about 9 minutes later, he chucks up a dime to Jerry Jeudy on a slant route that goes to the house. And so it's like he's not making the same mistake twice in some regards, but at the same time, he's just can this guy read an NFL defense? I'm actually wondering now. I'm curious of how much of what he did in Seattle was Pete Carroll being a genius and his raw athleticism, because it doesn't look like he can be a smart decision maker with a football.
So I want to table this we're not going to get into this rant on this episode, but I found myself last night getting sucked into watching the 2014 NFC Championship game for no apparent reason. I was just doing some research for a future episode, and I will leave you with one factoid. In the first half of that game, like, the Seahawks didn't score any points, and Russell Wilson, keep in mind, like, I was like half paying attention to the commentary, but I swear to God, Joe Buck said that he had no passing yards at the end of the first half of that game, and I think he had like 3 interceptions.
Guy stinks.
So,
dude stinks.
Yeah. Anyway, and rant for now. We're gonna deep dive that one. I can't wait to fucking rant about that game. But anyway,
I've gotten my Russell Wilson trauma out. He stinks. Get him out of here. I don't care. Take the dead cap. Get him off our team. He's bad. He's bad.
All right, dude.
So, I'm gonna talk about the Broncos as a team.
Yeah.
We can't finish. We can't finish, man. This is the second week in a row that we've lost a game by 1 point, like in just heartbreaking fashion. And one of those was to the worst team in football, allegedly, while we were playing our starters for half the game. I'm worried. Broncos country, let's panic, dude. We're on fire right now. It's bad. I don't know what's
bad.
It's bad. Vance Joseph's a moron. They should have never brought him back. I don't know what they saw in Arizona's just painfully mid defense. Like, watching Hard Knocks, I've been watching the in-season Hard Knocks from Arizona because I've been able to watch it now, and I wanted to see the in-season. Vance Joseph as like a human being seems like just a great, wise dude. Vance Joseph as a football coach makes me want to rip my hair out. Because he makes bad calls. He's not a situational play caller. And I've noticed that, like, the entire, like, when you want to test to see if a guy can make your team, do you give him the most basic thing, or do you give him the thing that's going to actually happen to him in a real game scenario? Which one would you do?
I don't know. Seems like a tough question.
Like, philosophy-wise, I would want to see if they can sink or swim. Like, training camps for the easy stuff. The joint practices, that's for the easy stuff. Let's get the hard stuff out in moments that, allegedly matter, because the preseason, is an actual game. Even if it doesn't count, it's still a real game. Test your guys. See what they can do, because those guys, those third-string players, they're going to have to do it in week 13 when you're trying to get a playoffs wild card spot, or when you're fighting a division opponent, or when they're playing for their job. Are you gonna just play vanilla defense for an entire half of a game and just let your lead completely evaporate?
Dude, it's the Joe Barry, Dom Capers special, man. You just gotta fucking play soft defense and let the teams come back, dude.
Like, he seems like a great dude. Seems like he's wise. Seems like he actually cares a lot about the human side of the game, which the game needs. Don't get me wrong. The people who believe in the human side, the players need those coaches. But those coaches can't be making play calls unless they actually know what they're doing. And Vance Joseph does not. And we can't finish a game because of it. This is just 2 in a row, man. I know the preseason doesn't matter, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned because also we can't make a field goal, man. Our kicker situation is interesting. I'm very skeptical about the Brandon McManus departure. I haven't seen anything to give me confidence, really, about our kicking game. And it's mile high. We should have the best kicker in football. Always. Something you said off air about signing Mason Crosby. I'm here for it. Get him here. Bring him to Denver.
Why not?
Come to Denver,
What's
Mason.
the worst
we
that
want
could
you
happen?
to. Come here.
He's aging, And what better place to have an aging kicker who might not be able to kick as far at sea level than he used to?
Like his
Give
his
him eight games.
problem his
Give him
problem
eight
isn't
games a year at
accuracy.
Mile High. No,
Like I would rather
give
have a kicker who can't hit, from 60 but can hit accurately from anywhere else. I'd rather, because like a lot of people
yeah,
get obsessed with like, oh, he can kick a 70-yarder in practice. Well, can he accurately kick his 30-yarders? Like, come on now.
right.
No one's kicking a
And
70-yarder in a game.
not everybody's Justin Tucker, right? Like we got to hold our expectations here.
Well,
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why I said it
I
because I
hear
personally like you have nothing to
agreeing.
lose at that point. Even just bringing him in like as a reliable extra point kicker, even like
Yeah,
somebody who's not going to miss that 35-yard attempt or whatever it is.
and like just have the punter, have the punter do kickoffs. Let him save his leg for the moments that matter. You know, it's doable,
Yeah,
and he's not gonna. It's not like he's gonna cost us, millions and millions. No, he's an aging Mason Crosby. He'll take what he gets.
yeah, he'll take the vet minimum for sure, just to kind of
I'm
get in
sure he'll
there and
probably
get
get a
another
little bit
season.
more than that because he's good, but like,
Yeah, yeah,
just I'm not seeing like these young guys. They don't have it. Whatever it is, if it's a mental
dude.
thing or physical, they just don't have it. And like I feel bad because these guys are fighting for a job and neither of them can win it.
hmm
So
Speaking of kickers, the Packers rookie kicker finally didn't do too bad yesterday. He made a 52-yarder, which was struggling throughout camp and just in general. So shout out to him being able to make a couple kicks yesterday, especially that 52-yarder. God damn, a
the
sight
um the
for
49ers new rookie kicker,
happy eyes.
he's been having some questions, but boy did he hit when it mattered. At the end of the game.
Dude, that's how it goes, man.
And
That's how it goes.
I wanted to dive into the 49ers a little bit because they're such an interesting team right now. I'm looking at the
Trey Lance,
quarterbacks.
man.
I'm looking at the quarterback stats, and Brock Purdy
Trey
4
Lance
for
did not
5,
play until
65
like
yards. Sam Darnold 11 for 14, 109 yards, TD and an interception. And then you've got Trey Lance 12 for 18, 173 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. And in terms of yards per pass attempt, you had Trey Lance at 9.6, Darnold at 7.8, and Brock Purdy at 13 even. Dude, like
dude,
Brock Purdy's the starter, no
I'm
question.
yeah,
But
that Trey
that's
Lance stat
second.
line surprised me because he didn't sorry. That Trey Lance stat line surprised me because he didn't I feel like he didn't come in till late in the game, right? Like third quarter maybe?
I'm not sure. What I do know is that they really need to figure out who's gonna be there, Sam Darnold or
Dude,
Trey Lance, because like Trey Lance,
yeah.
I get it. The upside is phenomenal. The upside is great because the upside will tell you all about like what he could do in that game at the end was just good Trey Lance. This is why they drafted him. But those moments
But
are so far and few between, and sometimes he looks like he genuinely is like has his eyes closed pre-snap in front of a defense. Like it. What do you do there? Do you go with the consistency of the mediocre Sam Darnold, or do you go with the high ups and downs for if and when Brock Purdy gets hurt? Because all three of these guys are going to start a game this year. That's my hot take of the day. All three San Francisco quarterbacks are going to start at least 1 or 2 games this season.
or do you trade Trey Lance to a QB hungry team? Maybe get a third string quarterback in return, plus like other, whatever it is, other players or draft picks or whatever. And do you go that route and then just
Just
have
cut bait.
Purdy, Darnold, and whoever you bring in? I mean, it sucks if you get rid of him and then he ends up just balling out for another team. But also, like, if Kyle Shanahan's proven anything in his coaching career there, he can win with anybody. So,
Yeah, that's true.
like,
No, I can't wait to see what
I don't
kind
know,
of
man.
nonsense fourth string QB they pull out of nowhere, and go to the championship game with. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be great.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
interested. That team intrigues me because they're good. You know what the ceiling is for that team, but yet there's still just so much like controversy and drama. So
Controversy?
controversy. Come on, figure it out. Get with the program.
I thought you were serious for a second. I'm like, wait, that's not how you pronounce it, right?
No, that's how I pronounce it. And the rest of the world can just be wrong. It's okay.
Man.
Controversy.
Yeah, a lot of hot takes, a lot of not so hot takes today. We just love our teams, people. We just love our teams. We want the best for them. We want them to do well, and we might think we have some good advice sometimes, and we're just the armchair manager, general managers on Sundays, and yeah, but
Look, this was
honestly,
building for a while. This was 2 weeks in the making, folks. So some of them might not be quite so spicy. This 2 weeks in the making, and boy, was it a 2 weeks.
yeah.
Well, do you have any final hot takes or controversy riddled thoughts?
Uh, I think the first play of the Jets offense in the preseason game next Saturday is going to be a run.
Probably right.
That's my hot take.
I agree.
People people want Rodgers to sling it around the yard, but I think they're going to start out and blue ball everybody and give us a run.
Now
That's my hot take.
here's one for the bank of hot takes. The first play from scrimmage, and it's a QB option, and Rodgers just takes off, runs for half a yard. Just
Anything could happen, dude.
completely just debunk every theory about what that offense is going to be and just throw everyone off their game. Because if it's a QB option with Rodgers in there, that the Giants defense is going to go like, what the fuck was that? Like, they're just going to be thrown.
Hmm.
That's a good one. So we have 3 games coming up that we're interested in. We've got the Jets and the Giants. We've got the Broncos and the Packers and Seahawks, and we got the Broncos and LA, the Rams, the Rammy Rams. So,
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to these games, and hopefully we can bring something back here that proves us either horribly, horribly wrong in a good way, or exactly right, because we're geniuses and we know how to fix the NFL.
Yeah, literally. I also want to end on saying Sean Clifford's got that dog in him.
Controversy, man. Some controversy. That's going to be the title
I
of this
love me a good
episode.
second string quarterback.
Controversy and hot takes.
Controversy and hot takes. I love
Something
me a good
like
second string
Yep.
who balls out in the preseason, dude. Makes me happy. Makes me happy.
Be wary of that curse. We had it in Brett Rippon for a while here in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, he threw a couple picks. He's thrown a couple picks. Like, he hasn't played great, but I just more or less just love, like, give me a little bit of competition, dude. I don't want Love walking into the starting job. I want some dude coming in, slinging it around the yard, taking chances.
A little bit, little hot seat.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's been keeping that bench warm for a while now. It's getting cold without him there. He might have to go back.
Let's see. Time will tell. All right, folks. That was it for episode 3, controversy and hot takes. And yeah, we'll see you after preseason week 3.